Just like to offer a big shout out to Touchdown Digital, the sponsor of this week's video. Well, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Glenn Samuel and you're watching Sniper Photography. Today this video is about, well, it's angled towards people that are moving from using their mobile phone or cell phone, as for our American viewers, to wanting to further or become better at their photography, and they need to buy a camera. Now, time and time again, I see people doing this, but what the mistake they make is that they don't do their homework, and they seem to think, or being persuaded by certain elements or people, that they need to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a camera and a lens. That is financial suicide for people when they do that, because you've only got to look at the classifieds like, say, Facebook Marketplace, and you see all these new, relatively new cameras, and they're usually mirrorless cameras for sale. And what that tells me is that these people have put their phone away and decided, well, I can take better photos if I have a better camera, or a camera, normal camera. And they do that, and then they realise that they prefer to carry their phone because it's probably easier to handle or it's more convenient. And I understand that mentality, but the part that I don't understand is why they think they need to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. So in this video today, I'm going to pinpoint why I think you shouldn't do that. And it's very important that if you're in this position that you watch this video, because I've been doing this for many, many years, and teaching people and talking to people that are just relatively new to photography, because in essence, this is what this Sniper Photography channel is all about. Trying to help people or navigate people, help them navigate through this wonderful world we call photography. Now, the aim of this video is to try and convince you people out there that are in this position not to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on your very first camera, because once again, over the years, I've seen cameras collect dust because they just don't want to do it anymore, or it's inconvenient to carry a camera and a lens around. Regardless of how small these new mirrorless cameras are, they're still heavier than a phone. So my suggestion for people in this position is to first have a look at how much money you've got to spend, and then halve it. So if you've got $2,000 to spend, you really only got $1,000 to spend, not $2,000. Now, $1,000 probably won't get you what you want, but it'll get you what you need. And that's very important. So what I suggest is you look at the second-hand market, and because those people that are selling these cameras second-hand, they could be only 12 months, 2 years old, they've lost thousands of dollars. They have really lost thousands of dollars, and you need to make that your win, your advantage. So by not spending all that money and buying a good quality second-hand camera, which there are thousands of them out there, that either people are upgrading or they just want to sell the camera and lens because they want to go back to their phone. Because I know for a fact, talking to people out and about, or when I'm on holidays or wherever I am, and people see me with my big camera setup and then they're using their phone, they think that it's easy. And this is why that mentality exists with a lot of people that are going into photography from using a phone. They seem to think that, well, if they get a new camera, which has been recommended by, I don't know, someone here on YouTube or some so-called expert, that's what they need. But that's financial madness. That is just financial madness. You don't want to do that. Do not buy a new camera. Seriously, don't waste your money. Because if you have a look at what you can buy secondhand and you work out from the sale point when they first brought the camera to when they're selling it, they've lost thousands of dollars. Now, another hint that I can give you if you want to buy secondhand, look at when the camera was first introduced, okay? I had a friend who wanted to get into YouTubing or vlogging, and I suggested a secondhand Canon 200D. Now, the reason for that is when it was first released in 2017, it was just over $1,000 with a kit lens, and that kit lens was an 18 to 55, which I don't recommend, but I do recommend the camera. So it was just over $1,000. It was released in Australia in 2017 by Canon. A very good camera to learn photography on, but an extremely good camera for YouTube videos. And he found one on Facebook Marketplace. Well, there was quite a few. And now this camera is now 7 going on 8 years old from 2017. Now, he spoke to a person that had one for sale for $650. And he told me this. And I said, look, regardless of when that person brought the camera sat on the shelves for about 4 years. So if he brought the camera, say, in 2020, it's still a 2017 model, regardless of how much use it's had, how well it's been looked after. So I suggested to him that you make an offer of around $490. And he did that, and the seller said no. Well, he come back to me and he had a look at other cameras, but he wanted this one for a particular reason. So I said, you need to explain to the seller that the camera is 7 years old, regardless of when you purchased it, and you be nice about it. And my final offer is $520. And when he did that, the penny must have dropped with the seller or the owner, and he agreed to the price. So the story there is that if you see a camera and you want to buy it, a good quality second-hand one, a couple of years old, 3 or 4 years old, or even 7 years old from when it was first released, look at how much it was on sale for when it was new, halve it, and then take another quarter off that, okay? Probably nearly 3/4 of the price, to be quite honest. Tell the buyer or tell the seller that you've got cash, that you will pay cash on pickup. Do not have the camera posted to you. You must go and pick it up. So find someone in your local area that's selling a good second-hand camera. This way, you're not wasting money, because you mightn't like it after you buy it. You mightn't like photography. You mightn't like wanting to do YouTube videos. So don't buy a new camera. Don't buy your first camera new, because cameras, like everything else, depreciate in value at a rate of knots. They're not a collectible item. You buy a new camera, in the first 12 months you've lost probably 5% of the purchase price, and every year that goes on you lose 10, 15, 25, 20, 25, even 30%, and then it plateaus out. So as I said, my suggestion, if you're new to this and you're putting away your phone and you want to buy a camera for photography or doing videos, look at a good quality second-hand camera. Seriously, you don't need to buy a new camera. You just don't. Because if that's the case, you might as well just use your phone for photography. Keep using your phone for photography, or do videos with your phone. Phones are great for that. So I just don't like seeing people not necessarily be conned, but to be sort of like thrust into this idea of that you need the latest and greatest and it's got to be brand new. I'm actually filming this on a Canon 80D at the moment with a kit lens. It's a 10 to 18 millimeter lens with a Rode mic and a LED light. And I do all my videos with this camera, and it has not let me down, and the 80D is about 7, 8 years old now, and it works fine. So the proof is there. I mean, you don't need that new camera to do or to start your photography. You just don't. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. You work too hard for it, but do your homework. Do your homework. So, as I said, I'll repeat, if you see a camera, a good second-hand quality camera, look at when it was first manufactured, and then look at when it was released, like the Canon 200D was 2017. That's 7, 8 years old, say. And yeah, look, just work back how much money that seller is losing by selling it. Regardless, he might have brought it 3 years ago because it was still on the shelf in 2021. It doesn't matter. The camera was made and released in it was made in 2016, released in 2017. So it's not worth the money that they're asking. So you need to have strong negotiation skills. But the only way you can have strong negotiation skills is if you do your homework. As I just said, when it was first released or when it was made and then it was first released, and then you can work out a price. Because people tend to want you to pay for their next new camera when they sell a camera second-hand. There's no money in second-hand cameras, forget it. There isn't. And when you buy a new one, you lose money. So it's not a win-win situation, but it is a win for you if you can eliminate the thought of, I need to spend all this money. No, you don't need to spend all that money. Seriously, you don't. Just do your homework. And then the next point is that people tend to think, and I've said this time and time again, people seem to think that the better the price or the more they spend on a camera, the better their photography will be. That is still happening today, and I've spoken about that on hundreds, thousands of occasions here on YouTube and in group classes and things, which is just false. You don't need that. You need your skill level to come up, not the camera. So think about that. If you're going to put your phone away and buy a camera, I've already said, buy a good quality second-hand one, or put a little bit more money into the lens. That's a good thing. Think about what you want to photograph, how often you'll be out with your camera. Now that's very important. This is where the people that buy the new stuff, the new gear, fall into this hole, this trap that, well, if I buy this and I spend all this money like everyone else is telling me to do, or everyone else has got that, I'll buy that, only to find out that you go out once every 3 months, you've just wasted money. You've just wasted your hard-earned money. And let's face it, things are expensive these days. Cameras aren't cheap. Cameras are not cheap, like everything else in this world of ours, especially in Australia. So you need to think about how often you'll be out with your camera. And this is why I'm always turning back to the fact that don't buy a new one. Don't buy new gear. Buy good quality second-hand cameras. And, you know, any camera that was built after, say, 2008, 2010, is still good quality. Even good quality second-hand cameras, because you'll find that people that are selling these second-hand cameras really haven't worked with them. They really haven't pushed them to the limit like I do and people that I know. So the camera's probably done no work. It's probably got what I call low mileage, in other words, shutter count. So you need to do your homework, but please don't waste your money. I just don't like seeing people waste money on things that they don't need. They buy things because they think they need it. No, don't think like that, because as I said, this is a dear game, photography, and it can become very, very expensive for you if you haven't done your homework and you have this mindset that the more I spend on a camera, the better quality camera will be, the better photographs I can take. As I said, the camera is just a tool of trade. It's the person behind it that makes the photographs. So if you're putting your phone down and you want to get into photography, I strongly suggest that you look at the good quality second-hand market. And that way you'll save money, and who knows, you might be selling that second-hand camera a third time and upgrading, which I think is fantastic. Then maybe buy a new one. But if you're just starting out from putting your phone down, from taking photos, to buy a proper camera, don't buy a new one. You're wasting your money. So I hope you find that interesting. And as I said, this video is aimed at the new people that are moving into photography from using their phones to take photos. I hope you find this interesting. Please put your comments down below and I'll certainly get back to you, and I really enjoy reading your comments here on this channel. So as I always say, that's about it here, but as I always say, be nice to yourself, family and friends, but most of all, you keep shooting, keep smiling. Bye for now.